The rich kid said I'd end up cleaning toilets for people like him, not knowing his dad worked for my mom. I was the quiet kid in 8th grade whose mom always said to keep a low profile at school. She dropped me off a block away every morning before heading to her office, and I knew not to mention that she meant the executive suite of the biggest company in town. Bruce's dad worked there too, always bragging about being a regional sales manager. Bruce had no idea my mom was the one who signed his dad's paychecks though, and because of that, Bruce made me the target of his bullying. Everything started on a Tuesday morning in early October, when Bruce knocked my books out of my hands in the main hallway. While I knelt down to gather my scattered papers, he stood there laughing with his friends. Later that same day, when I held the door open for him after lunch, he shoved past and told everyone I was probably hoping for a tip like a doorman. By Thursday of that week, he had progressed to stealing my lunch money during second period and announcing loudly that I was too poor to afford food anyway. Friday afternoon brought another escalation when he shoved me into a locker after PE and made comments about my clothes smelling like thrift store while the entire hallway erupted in laughter. The following week brought even worse treatment. Every time I raised my hand during English class on Monday, he interrupted to call me stupid and wrong. When test results came back on Wednesday and I had earned an A, he grabbed my paper right off my desk and ripped it into pieces while telling everyone the teacher probably felt too sorry for me to give me the F I really deserved. During lunch periods throughout that week, his harassment evolved from simply knocking over my tray to something more humiliating. He would grab my sandwich from my reused grocery bag, take a dramatic bite, and spit it out while declaring it was welfare food and mystery meat before throwing everything in the trash. On a particularly bad Thursday, I tried a different approach and offered him my chips, thinking maybe kindness would work. He knocked them out of my hand and ground them into the cafeteria floor with his heel while explaining that he didn't want to catch whatever diseases poor people carry. The entire cafeteria watched in silence as he made me clean up the mess with my bare hands. Physical education class became my daily nightmare after that. He would wait until I was changing clothes, then grab everything I owned and throw it all in the shower, leaving me standing there in my underwear. While I tried to retrieve my soaked clothes, he would loudly describe to the entire locker room how skinny and malnourished I looked from eating dollar store food. The harassment reached new levels the day he found my phone with its cracked screen in early November. He picked it up and called it ancient junk, then explained that his dad had told him poor people always have broken phones because they can't take care of anything. He threw it on the ground and stomped on it repeatedly until the screen went completely black and the phone wouldn't turn on anymore. When I wore the same jacket 3 days in a row because my other one was still drying from being thrown in the shower, he started a rumor that I only owned one set of clothes. He would make gagging sounds whenever I walked past in the hallways and hold his nose while telling everyone I hadn't changed my underwear in a week. Career day arrived in mid-November, and Bruce had spent the entire week telling everyone how his dad was going to present about being successful in business. The morning of the presentations, he cornered me in the bathroom and pushed my head toward the toilet while his friends held the door shut. He kept my face inches from the water and told me I better get used to cleaning toilets for rich people like him. His dad went first during the presentations, strutting around the classroom talking about sales figures and leadership while mentioning 3 times that he worked for the most successful company in the state. Then the classroom door opened and my mom walked in. Bruce's dad stopped mid-sentence when he saw her, and his confident expression transformed into pure terror within seconds. His hands shook so badly that he dropped all his presentation notes while sweat soaked through his cheap shirt. My mom calmly told Johnson to finish up and said they would discuss his quarterly review afterward. Bruce's smirk disappeared instantly as his face turned white as paper, and when someone whispered who she was, he stared at me with his mouth hanging open in horror. His whole body started trembling as he finally understood that he had spent months tormenting his dad's boss's kid. After class ended, Bruce tried to stammer out an apology, but couldn't even form complete words. His dad had to formally apologize to my mom, while Bruce stood there looking like he might throw up at any moment. Within a week, Bruce had transferred to a private school across town, and his dad got demoted to a different branch in another state.